Wit Fam. This is Leo with One Happy Widow. We're going no makeup, no hair. This is the way I woke up. I woke up like this, okay, because it's my fall break. And I wasn't really planning on doing a live today. But I'll tell you what happened that got me here to the live today. So, as you may or may not know, my husband is a milkman and he delivers milk 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He gets up like 3:15, 3:30ish. But on the holidays, sometimes he delivers only to daycare centers. So some daycare centers are closed today. Some daycare centers are open. So he had like a short day. Anyway, my daughter is also off today. She does online school, but she did not have any classes today because it's the holiday. A lot of times when she has the day off, she decides to ride along with him. One of the reasons why, hate to admit, is because she gets to play on her iPad the whole time. So she'll play on her iPad. She gets out of the house, gets to go along on the ride with him. They get to have their little bonding time and talk and whatever. And so she decided to go with him today. And I was going to meet with my sister for lunch, my main man, Stormy, because she is a teacher. She's also on fall break. And so we were going to meet for lunch at our favorite lunch place. So this lunch place is like a local place. Well, they also, I don't know if y'all can hear me. I need to move my microphone closer. How about that? Let's see if that's any better. So, sorry if that gave y'all a lot of feedback. So the place that we like to eat, it's like our favorite sandwich shop. I used to work there when I was in high school. It's been there like 40 years. And so that place is also closed on a lot of holidays. So she went by there yesterday and found out they will be closed today. And so we were going to go instead to some other place tomorrow. And so that was our plan. We're going to go to Sonny's. And so then I remembered that I had a hair appointment on Tuesday. So I texted her, hair appointment on Tuesday. We're going to have to go on Wednesday. So she texts me back and she's like, I have a hair appointment on Wednesday. So we're going to have to move it to Thursday or Friday. Well, Thursday and Friday, my husband is off from work. And so I wanted to spend the days with him. So I was like, crap, okay, let's go back to Monday. Let's just do Sonny's instead of the sandwich shop this time. We'll just have to do the sandwich shop some other time. The problem is the sandwich shop is only open on Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Only for lunch, only during the week. Which means if it's not a holiday, which they're closed on holidays, or it's not one of our days off for summer break, we don't get to go. Anyway, so we had it all worked out. We were going to go today. And so my husband got up this morning and he backed his truck up. I don't know why he does this, but he backed his truck up towards the garage. My car is parked in the garage. His car is parked. He backed it right up to mine and then left it running. So, because it's actually chilly this morning, so it could warm up. Which the reason why I don't like that is because he's backed his truck into the garage, which now he's spewing these toxic fumes into my garage. But, you know, it's this, that, or the other, whatever. So he does that. He closes the door, leaves the car running, and somehow the door locks. It's not even supposed to do that. It's one of those electric locks things or whatever. It's got one of those little key fobs. So it's not supposed to even lock while the car is running. But it did. And he also can't get back inside to try to figure out if he has another key or if he can, whatever. And so he has to call me. And so I'm sleeping. It's now like 4:30 in the morning. And he has to call me so I can go let him in. And so he can figure out what else that he needs to do. Well, the problem is he can't take his truck because it's locked. Now he can't take my car because his truck is blocking my car into the garage. So he can't take my car to work. And so he ends up having to take my son's car, which does not have insurance. Well, it does now, but it didn't as of this morning. And their registration, the tag is expired because we've had this huge fiasco about my son getting the car, buying it, getting it transferred over. We've had to get another title. It's been a mess. But the point is the car's been parked. Carter hasn't even been able to drive it because it's not legal. Well, that's the only car that he could get out of the yard. And so he had to take Carter's car to work, which means I could not go to my lunch with my sister. And so I am home today. Thank God it's a holiday for me, or else I would have had to call into work just because I couldn't get a ride to work today. So I figured since I'm here, uh, I would lounge around, which I did, and watch a little bit of TV, fix my coffee that I cannot live without, and I thought, "Well, heck, I'll just do a live session," even though I did not fix my hair and I did not put on my makeup. This sweatshirt I put on this morning just so I could go outside and see if we could do we even had the master key code that they sent us from the Ford company that you're supposed to be able to to type in the key code and it's supposed to unlock it, the master key code. We have that. We tried it. It did not work. He tried it a bunch of times. I tried it a bunch of times. It did not work. I don't know why. So I even looked on I mean, I was all over this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning on YouTube trying to find out how you can unlock your car, without messing it up. I don't want to stick a hanger down there because it always messes up the little thing. I saw a shoestring trick or a little string trick or whatever, and I looked in. The little lock it sticks up like when it goes down, it sticks up like this high. So I couldn't get a string around it. It's been a fiasco all day. And so he's already done with his route and he's already starting to head home today. And he'll have to figure out how to get the car. I guess he's going to have to call a locksmith if the Ford people can't tell him why the master key thing is not working. But we didn't want to call somebody at 5 o'clock in the morning to kind of unlock it because they would have charged out of whatever hours fees. It would have cost a ridiculous amount and he still would have been really late. So that's been this day. But today, it's been like 2 weeks since I've done any videos, any updates. To be honest, I don't even remember what I have told you all about the job situation and how that's going. Because I know a lot of you are following along with the job saga. I have a new job that started in August as a school teacher, end of July, actually. It's a terrible job. I do not like it. It's wearing me out. I'm working 12 hours a day. I'm exhausted. So thank God for fall break. But, I think the last update that I had is I was trying to sign up for this class so that I can get certified to be an academic coach, which still working in the schools, but it's a support job for other teachers. It's not a teaching job. But my principal was dragging his feet, not wanting to, sign the paperwork, and I have to have his permission in order to take the class even though it's paid for and everything. And it's on my own time, but it's through the state of Georgia, and you have to get you have to get the permission of your principal because if you're going to be doing some stuff in the school, like you're going to be mock mentoring some other teachers in your school, and so your principal has to know that that's what you're going to be doing, and he has to give his blessing. Blah blah blah. And so he's saying, "Oh, I need to know what the protocol is first before I can do any of this stuff." And all this time I've been thinking he's been trying to block me or punish me because he knows I'm not coming back next year, and I've been kind of real salty about it. Well, I've come to find out this is what happens when you have a pissy attitude about life, okay? When you are mad, sad, upset, grieving, stressed, a lot of anxiety, going through depression or whatever, you see everything in such a tainted light, such a like a shadow is cast across everything. And so you automatically go straight to the most negative interpretation of any side of any story. And so it turns out that's what I was doing. Here I am thinking that this man who didn't even know me for 2 months was trying to wreck my career and trying to block my career progression and do all these things and punish me because he knew I wasn't coming back next year. All these things in my mind. And I got very humbled because I found out that's not what he was doing. What he was actually doing is the protocol is that you don't even sign up for that class unless there is a coaching job that you are being trained for. So, in other words, if I had already been hired as a coach, like the process is you really get hired as a coach and then you take the class and you get the certification and move on. Well, or if he knew there was going to be a coaching position next year and he knew that he wanted to hire me for it, he can send me for that. But if there's not an already coaching job already set up for you to go into or that you're already working in, they normally just don't send you to get trained to get certification, which I think is dumb, but that's just the policy. And so the reason why he was dragging his feet is because he was going behind the scenes to try to find out if there was a way for him to send me to that class anyway, even though that's not normally the policy. So here he is trying to do something for me, to do me a favor, to pull strings for me in my favor. And I'm over here getting ready to call my professional association and get lawyers involved and like try to come in and make him sign some paperwork or whatever. I'm so glad I did not go that route, because I'm sure he would have been very offended. I even called a lawyer, and asked. I was like, look, can he just refuse to sign this paperwork for me because it's blocking my career progression? He's like, legally, yes, he can refuse. Like, we can't make anybody sign paperwork to recommend you for something if they don't want to. And I was like, well, shouldn't he at least be able to have to give me an explanation? He's like, like morally, yes, he should, but legally, no, he doesn't even have to give you a reason. He can just say, no, I'm not doing that. And then that's it. And so I was going down that route, and my department chair boss was the one that told me. She's like, well, he's been trying to pull these strings for you and see if he can make it happen, even though it's normally not supposed to happen that way. So anyway, turns out he could not pull those strings. They could not get me signed up for this class. And so that avenue is not going to happen for me as far as getting certified before I can get the job. However, people get hired for that job all the time, since that's the way that it normally goes. Is you get hired for the job, then you get certified. You have 1 year to get that certification. So I'm still going to search for that job, either in this county or in a surrounding county, for next school year. And then once I get the job, then I will sign up for the course and then take the certification. And it's kind of like on the job training. And so that's still my plan. But in the meantime, I guess because my principal saw me wanting to do some things to move up, then he has decided to help me, and he has invited me to be a part of the leadership team on the school. So the leadership team is basically just a group of people that goes to meetings about once a month at the board office, and they talk about school improvement. They take data, test scores, behavior, school climate, issues that are going on, and they try to brainstorm together and come up with ideas to implement to get better outcomes in the schools all across the board. In addition to that, the leadership team is basically the future pool of applicants that the principal is going to give first consideration to when he thinks about who he's going to recommend for assistant principal all down the road. And the county does the same thing. So basically, it's like, we see leadership potential in you. If we're going to hire an admin, an assistant principal, a principal down the road, these are the people we're going to look at first, because we can see what their ideas are. We can see how they work with others. We can see, they can see some things about us. And it doesn't mean you're automatically going to get chosen. It just means that, you're kind of in that first pool of applicants. Although I don't want to be an admin. I don't want to be a principal. My husband's like, oh, you'll be the principal in 2 years. No, first of all, I need another degree to do that. And I'm not interested in going back to school for that. And secondly, I don't want to be a principal or an assistant principal. I've seen their jobs and I don't want it. Like, I don't want that much responsibility to fall on my shoulders and then have to boss around teachers knowing what they're already going through. I would rather be in a support position. And so, but being on a leadership team does mean more work. It does mean more responsibility. My boss is still sending me to go to get that other certification for the special ed stuff. All that stuff is good resume builders. So next year, when I'm looking for a coaching position, I will be able to say that I was recognized and invited to be a part of the leadership team at my school in the first year that I worked there, and that I was chosen and sent to be trained to be what they call an LEA, which is another, not really leadership. It's more responsibility, and they don't ask just anybody to do that stuff. So I'm just going to be collecting these things, these little feathers in my cap, I guess, and getting my stuff ready, because believe it or not, contracts come out in about March timeframe, which is just in a few months. And you get 10 days to sign your contract. And when you don't sign your contract, anyone who's not signed by the end of that time, you become sort of like a free agent. And so it becomes a free for all at that point on switching jobs for the following school year. So between about mid-March And about end of July, that's going to be like open season to try to find jobs for all teachers. And so that's when things are going to start getting serious. And so I'm just going to start preparing my paperwork so that I can be in that applicant pool and just be ready for that. I'm going to read a few of the comments and let's see who's here. Peg says, good to see you. Live sound is good. Okay, cool. I'm glad the sound is good. Sound is great. What a wonderful surprise. Wait, you had no idea you were live today. And Joni still makes it. Yes. So true. I go negative directly. Yeah, I wasn't really planning on going live, so I just kind of popped it on the group like real unexpectedly. Terry says, hello, everyone from San Antonio, Texas. Janet says, we miss you too. So glad we can all meet here today. And if you missed the live, then you can always just watch the replay, because as soon as the live goes off, the replay goes on. And then you can comment down in the description bar in the comment section. If you're here live, you can just comment in the chat section. So I just caught you up to all the stuff that's going on in my life, which is the reason why I can't seem to get a video out more than once every 2 weeks. I've tried to do it every week, and it's just I'm too tired. And I'm exhausted all the time. And so I have been vlogging, but I've been vlogging on my phone, just mostly for my teaching stuff, because my widowed community doesn't necessarily need to know all about the details of the teaching stuff. And so I don't want to bore you guys or like talk about topics that don't really apply to most of my audience. And so I've been vlogging and thinking that I'm just going to upload it maybe on a separate channel, like a teaching channel. But to be honest, I think I've been vlogging on my phone for like 6 weeks and I haven't uploaded a single bit of it. Like it's just a collection of little video clips in the mornings and afternoons. And I haven't uploaded, I haven't edited, I haven't put a single thing up on there. And so I finally went back to my therapist because I went to one therapy session in June, and then my therapist had surgery. So she was out for 2 months. And then I had a session with her when she first came back, but she was supposed to be back and she still wasn't back yet. So it took her a little longer to heal. And so then by the time she came back, she started putting all her back, appointments in. And so she's really busy front loading everything. And so it's just been really hard to get back in. So it's been July, August, September, like it's been 4 months since I went to my very first therapy session. And if you saw my other video when I talked about it, she was asking me to go through like my life history. And so I think we got up through like high school, and and then she was like, okay, time's up. We're gonna have to cut you off. We'll pick up where we left off later. And so by the time I went back just this past week, she was like, so catch me up on how things are going. And I had not seen her since my job started. So I was like, oh, we're going to need some time. And I was even 15 minutes late because I was at a meeting at my job and I didn't get out of my job until 5 o'clock. And I had to rush here to get to my my therapy appointment. And so basically I gave her like in a nutshell how crappy the job is and how stressed I am. And what she decided was that I need more self-care. Like I need to take care of myself because I'm given to the students and I'm given to my job, and I have very little left for my husband and kids, but what little I have, I'm giving to them. And then I'm just, as soon as I get home, I eat, I sit in the bed, I fall asleep, I get up, I do it all over again. And so I'm tired all the time. I'm stressed all the time. I'm eating like crazy and I'm gaining weight like crazy. I'm sure the cortisol from the anxiety is just not helping. And then, so that's balling into another bit of anxiety and stress and sadness and looking in the mirror. I don't want to look at myself, and it's just like, how it just snowballs into this insanity. And so that's kind of what's happening here. My body hurts all the time because I walk and take so many steps every day, but I'm not really exercising. So it's like I'm getting old and my joints are hurting and I'm not eating right. It's just my skin's breaking out. I can't fit into hardly any of my clothes. You know how all that kind of like just. So my therapist was like, you have got, she's like, I know you don't think you have time, but you have got to do some self self-care. So that's my assignment. I don't even know what I'm going to do. I think I probably need to just take some time, do a meal plan for myself because I've been meaning to do it. I've been talking about doing it, and it's just like failure to launch. Okay. I do it for a day or two and I just don't get into the routine. And then it's just too easy to sit in the bed and eat goldfish and, you know, Reese's peanut butter cups and whatever it is I eat at night, or a bowl of ice cream or whatever. I mean, I'll skip a meal just so I can have some snacks in the bed because I'm too tired to fix my food. And so, I'm not eating a ton. I'm not eating anything healthy. And so that's taken its toll on my almost 50-year-old body. So I think that's what I need to do. And what I want to do is I've been meaning to do my weight loss program because I know exactly what I need to do and what everybody else needs to do and how to do it. It's just I got to do it. And so I thought, well, this will be a good way for me to create my weight loss class or course and then do it along with the course so that the people who are watching can also see the transformation because I'm gonna be doing it along with them. Instead of it being after, I'm gonna be the before with everybody else, and I'm gonna be losing right along with everybody. So that way, I'll be going through the same kind of struggles, while I'm making the videos and while I'm coming up with all the recipes and all the meal plans and all the, the things that go along with it. So maybe, maybe I can start that maybe over I don't know when, maybe this week, I don't know. But, so that's gonna be, I think, my first part of self-care is to start eating better, and I know that will help make me feel better. So, let's see. We wish you well in your I'm not sure what that is, with self-care journey. We all need this. Yes, we all do, because it's not just about stress of the job or stress of the parenting, it's stress of grief too. A lot of times when we start grieving, especially in the beginning, like if you're in fresh grief, you probably are not even thinking about taking care of yourself. You're not thinking about eating right. You're not thinking about going and working out. You're worried about legal stuff and money stuff and arrangement stuff and people stuff and living stuff and job stuff. Like you're worried about so many very important things that have to be taken care of that you don't even know because you've never been widowed before. That the last thing that that you're thinking about is like putting yourself first and taking care of yourself. And so a lot of people, either they will start to overeat, or a lot of people will just stop eating and they'll forget to eat, or they just won't feel like eating. And so it's kind of like you'll see a lot of people gain a lot of weight when they first become widowed, and you'll see a lot of people lose a bunch of weight when they first become widowed. And so it kind of can go either way. But both of those things that happen, neither of them are good for you. It's not good for you not to eat because you have to keep your energy and your nutrients in your body, but it's not good for you to eat crap or overeat or eat your feelings away, which is kind of what I do when I'm stressed. I eat comfort food, so they make me feel better for 2 seconds, and then, later on, I'm like, "Ugh, why did I do that?" Um, so anyway, self-care, very important. I know this, but I also need to live this. It's easy for me to tell y'all to do it, and I gotta tell myself to do it. So I'm gonna be working on that. And then, the topic that I chose today it's just something that's come up with me a few times in the last few weeks because I've been so busy with my job and my stress and my life that, like, I just am feeling overwhelmed, but it's not necessarily overwhelmed from grief. It's almost like the overwhelm has taken my mind so far off of my grief journey that I haven't even paid attention enough to my grief or to the memories or to the legacy of my late husband that the few times that I've tried to think about it, or that I've sat down and been like, wow, I haven't even thought about Dewey like in several days. And then when I sit and try to come up with some memories, I'm like, wow, it just seems like the bank of memories is just growing thin. And it's like I don't have as many memories to choose from because it's been over 5 years now. And so even though I had 17 years with him, I pull up the same few memories, that stand out to me, and I relive those. And then of course I have videos and I have some pictures and stuff, and I pull those out and I can look at those. But it almost seems like your memory, you can't remember everything, and your brain is constantly being loaded with new information. And so as the new information goes in, the old information, if it doesn't recycle back to the front of your memory and you practice it, then you will forget. And so and I realize that I just don't have the memory of as many things that we did. Like if I tried to think of his voice right now, I just can't exactly remember. Like I could go back to a video and it would come back to me like that. But if I tried to like listen to his voice in my head, I don't think that I could really exactly remember what he sounds like. And I feel like this is kind of what the kids are going through. This is what the kids struggle with in their grief because, especially with Dallas, because she's 12 now and she was 7 when he died. And I know she doesn't have that many memories of him. And the memories she does have were 7-year-old memories. And so I know that it upsets her because she tries to like think about daddy and she can't. She might have a couple of like fleeting fuzzy memories, but they're not going to be that clear. Think about when you were 7 years old. Tell me what you remember. What do you remember when you were 6 or 5? What do you remember about your parents when you were a little kid, when you were in first grade? I mean, and I know it's been longer for us since we've been in first grade. It's been 5 years since she's been in first grade. It's been a lot more than that since we were in first grade. But like, as time goes by, that's only going to get worse for her. And all she's going to have, I'm going to take this sweatshirt off. I'm getting hot. And all she's going to have at some point is going to be just a few little, my shirt is on inside out. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me do this. Can you tell that I just got out of the bed and like I put this shirt on at 4 o'clock in the morning when he called me to open up the door. And so I was getting dressed in the dark. And then I went and put this on. And it probably has like food left over from it from last night because I slept in this shirt. Okay, embarrassing moment. And it's too late to change because we're live. Anyway. Okay, so back to the topic. Um we were talking about Dallas. So so Dallas will, as she gets older, she will have she'll have the pictures and she'll have the videos and she'll have the little mementos. But that's all she's gonna have. She'll have a few little fuzzy memories in her mind that kind of go along with with the memories that she has in her phone or her pictures or whatever. And that's gonna be it. And I know that's gonna be upsetting for her. And so, as time is going by even for me, even though I have a whole huge bank of memories and I was grown when I made those memories, and so they're a little bit more clear to me, um, I'm finding it harder to remember. And then when I do realize that the memories are fading, then I'm like, gosh, what's going to happen 10 years from now when I'm 60? And what's going to happen when I'm an old lady? And how weird is it going to be like a 70-year-old lady and pull up pictures of my late husband and he's 40? Like I'll be this old lady and my husband's going to be this young man that's younger than the same age as my children or younger than my children. It's just weird stuff like that you don't really think about logically until it happens. And then you're like, that's weird. And then that just is another reminder to you of how sad the situation is that your spouse died at such a young age, or that your spouse died and left you to live the rest of your life to try to carry on their memory or carry on their legacy and try your best to hold on to those memories. But I've been holding on to some guilt this week because I feel like my life has been going so much, life is so much in the way and it's overtaken my brain so much. And I'm stressing about all these things in my life that I haven't really given his memory much attention. I haven't given his legacy much attention. And with Braylon getting married in a few weeks, she's getting married in like a month, like November 12th. And today's the 10th. So just over a month and 2 days away, she's getting married. And, she's got all these feelings coming up in her heart and her mind because of the fact that her dad is not going to be at the wedding, and trying to figure out a way to replace him in some way, physically replace him. I mean, it can't be replaced obviously, but like find out who's going to walk her down the aisle and and all that kind of stuff. And I think we figured out this, we figured out what we're going to do, but it's still obviously not going to be the same. So my husband, JP, is going to walk her down the aisle. And then when he gets to the end and they ask who gives this woman away, he's going to say, in honor of her father, I am giving her away. And so, and he was very flattered when she asked him to do that and he got like a little choked up about the fact that she would ask him to do that. And so I think that it was a good thing that she asked him because it made him feel like she does care about him as an important part of her life, knowing that we've never tried to replace her dad, and she's not trying to replace her dad, but she's old enough and mature enough to understand that JP is a person in her life that cares about her, that at least can give her advice and support, emotional support. And even though he can't be her dad and never can be her dad, and he knows that, but he can be a person in her life that cares about her and that can be there for her when she's struggling. And so I think she's finally come around to that idea. And so that's been kind of a nice change. And I see a bunch of stuff coming up. So um, this eating thing, I so understand not eating healthy. Yeah, we're gonna have to like come up with a whole separate group, a healthy eating group. Like we're gonna have another Facebook group or a Kajabi group or something that we can all kind of do where we focus on healthy eating and we do some things and set some goals for ourselves. I really would like to do that. So good to see you. Sorry you had a rough morning. The eating thing. Oh yes, I just ate a caramel first time around. I lost 60 pounds. Not so much this time. Barbara says you carry a heavy load. Go easy on yourself. I'm trying, but it's, when the job keeps going and the kids keep needing and the money, keeps needing, the bills need to keep getting paid. It's just, sometimes it's like the treadmill. The faster you run on it, like you're wearing yourself out, but you're not getting anywhere. Like the belt's moving faster, but you're still in the same place. Sometimes I feel like that. Um, Peg says, for sure, Barbara. And then Janet says, but don't you also think that forgetting memories is also a sign of healing, of moving on, of not living in the past? Oh, I definitely think that it is a sign because you're replacing your life that you had with them with new memories and a new life and new people and new experiences. And yes, I do think it is definitely a sign of moving forward. But, at the same time, anytime we move forward, even if it's in a healthy way, anytime we move forward and we grow and we heal, it's also mixed with some guilt because we know that in order to move forward, that means we have to move farther away from the past. And the past is where our spouse lives. And so it's always a mixed bag. And so it's a double-edged sword because you got to heal and you got to move forward and you got to keep walking forward, but you can't, like, if I did a video about walking forward and looking backwards, or walking backwards and looking forward. I can't remember how I worded it, but anyway, it was about moving forward and then leaving your spouse behind. And that's something that we have to do in order to heal and to, to grow. But it's sad and it's hard to do. So, Peg says it's one of those days. It is. At least you realize what you need to do and you aren't the only one. And Jane says, I just tuned in. Hi from Arizona. Hello, Jane. The slipping away of memories, says Jonice, of my husband is scary. I can't imagine. And so, Jonice, I think it's just over a year out. And so I think it's just really gotten to me like in the last year or so. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's just a gradual thing, but it got to the point where I realized it a lot over this last, since life has gotten really busy and I've been real distracted with a lot of other things in the present. Jay says widowhood sucks and the dating process double. Yes, Jay. Yes, trust me, I've been through that one. Luckily, I'm not doing that anymore, but I will tell you, it was dating was not fun. You would think it would be fun because you're meeting a lot of people and you're going a lot of places and doing a lot of stuff, but it was almost like a part-time job. And it almost wasn't worth it. Finally, it was because I found a good one, but I will tell you, it was not fun. It was not a fun couple of years when I was in that dating pool. It did kind of suck because the good ones are taken. Like if they're a good guy or good woman, they're married already. And so, and if they are single, they don't stay single long because, they're a catch and somebody's going to realize it, scoop them up. And so, I think those memories just get filed away in your temporary emotional filing cabinet, and as life slows down, as you get older, you will have the time to relax and pull them out. Well, that's good to know that it's in your long-term memory because you had those memories for, for years. So hopefully as life slows down, I'll be able to kind of sit and process them back to the front of my mind. Um, Jay says, I'm encouraged by the fact that you're remarried and seem to be happy. So yes, I am. I am definitely happy in my current marriage. My husband is also widowed. So that's something that we have in common, and we're able to support each other in that way. But JP goes through moments also where he gets really upset because he can't, his memory loss is a little different because his wife had a very difficult last few years of her life. So the last few years of her life, which also meant the last 3 or 4 years of their marriage, was very rough and rocky because of some bad life choices that she was making. And so the marriage was just dysfunctional and tough. But he made the vows and he vowed to stick by her side, and he loved her, and he did it even though the times were really, really rough. And so what his issue is that upsets him is that those are the freshest memories that he has of her. And so when he thinks back to try to remember her, he remembers those times, those really, really rough times at the very end. And I've tried to encourage him, to go back farther and to remember the times when they were young parents. Remember the times when your babies were little and she was a stay-at-home mom. And he talked about how she was such a great housekeeper and she kept a really clean house and she always had dinner on the table when he got home. And she always took the kids everywhere. He called her the mama duck because the ducklings were always following behind her, and how good of a mom she was, maybe a little overprotective, but, just wanting to protect them from the world. And he talks about those things. And then when he tries to bring up memories, it seems like those fresh memories, the last memories, were the ones that stick out the most. And so he has to really work hard to skip over that and go back to the older memories so that he can think about the time when she, before the rough time, and when she was making good decisions and she was living a clean life and she was doing the things that she needed to do and being a good mom and a wife and that kind of stuff. So I try to encourage him to do that. He has to consciously work to do it. And he says it's difficult sometimes to think because those are the farthest memories back. So I can see, how that would happen. And Barbara says, we aren't forgetting about our spouse. I feel it's just going on in the life that we now lead. Yes, I agree. We are definitely moving on. And I just feel like there's only so much room for so many memories. And so it's just hard. It's a guilty feeling when I try to pull up some memories and they seem to be so faded. And so it's a tough thing. Jane says, I received a gift called Angel Catcher. It helps you not forget our loved ones. So I'll have to look that up. I haven't heard about that. Big hug to you from Peg Bell. Don't give up on love, Sunflower. It's out there and it's within us also. Peg's given us some really good advice and really good motivation. Yeah, don't give up. Because if you really are looking to put someone back into your life because you don't want to live alone, then there is somebody. I don't think there's just one person out there for everybody. I know people think about soulmates or whatever. I think that there's one person out there for you at any given time in your life. So I think Dewey was the love of my life during that period of my life. JP is the love of my life right now for this period of my life, and that's okay. And hey, speaking of the love of my life, I was just talking about you. Yeah. You must be home from work. Listen, I had this sweatshirt on and I got hot and I took it off and I'm alive right now. And my shirt is on inside out and it's dirty on the front. So, yeah. So, yeah, we had a little laugh about that. He's not wanting to show his face. Did you find out anything about the key or any of that stuff?
I'm working on that right now. I just got home.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you work on it. I probably just got about 10 minutes left, and then I love you too. So he just got home. Now he's got to figure out how to unlock his truck. Anyway, so Brandy says this week is 2 years. So Brandy, I'm so sorry. I know that a lot of times we've talked about this in other videos that sometimes the second year is easier on people, and for some people, the second year is tougher because of different reasons. And you can watch the other video to find out. But sometimes I know that year 2 is sometimes harder just in different ways. And then after that, it's just like another year and another year and another year. And then you realize it's just more years piled on top of each other. And then it's not such a raw pain. It's more just like a tiring, lingering sadness that just kind of lays on you all the time. It's hard to explain, but if you're there, you know what I'm talking about. Bart was laughing at my shirt inside out. My husband wore a shirt inside out all day at work, and nobody told him his jacket was on the day he left for work, so I didn't know. So, yeah, luckily I don't think I've ever done this at work, and it's even more embarrassing that it's like got some food or something on the front. So I'm telling you, it's today's my day off from work. Okay, so I just rolled out of bed and turned on the camera. That's what you get. No dry shampoo or anything. So this is me. um, and I will tell you a little secret. This will embarrass him, but JP always forgets to zip his fly. I don't know why, but and I ask him, I catch him all the time. I'm like, hey, your zipper's down. Hey, your zipper's down. Hey, your zipper's down. And I'm like, how many times have you gone to work all day and had your zipper down and not realize it? And he's like, no, I've never done that. And I'm like, okay, because you do it all the time at the house. I'm just saying. I don't know if it's a man thing. I really don't know. Anyway, Jay says, thanks for the encouragement. I have 2 little ones that I have to raise alone now too, and I'm an only child myself. So not lots of help. So hard, one day at a time. Yes, raising grieving children, I've always said, is the hardest part of the grieving job because the kids don't grieve the same way that we do. We heal in a different way. We heal faster. We heal more fully than they ever do because the loss for them doesn't really heal. It just gets more and more open, I think, as time goes by because more things are happening to them that their parent does not get to experience. And so, and again, the not remembering because of memories not being, in their mind and just all those things that we kind of talked about. It's really tough for them. And it's funny because now that I'm teaching again, and I teach a lot of kids that have, problems because I'm in special ed or whatever. And it's funny that I have had three students so far this year that I find I will something about them just makes me feel drawn to them and seems familiar to me. I'm like, this kid just reminds me a lot of my kids. They just have something about their personality or the way they talk about stuff or their attitude just reminds me so much of my kids. And all 3 times as time went by, I have found out that they've lost a parent, all 3 of them. And so there must be some kind of common trauma response to kids who've lost a parent. It just makes them act a certain way or react a certain way or have just a certain way that they talk and it's really sad, but it's also annoying because I recognize it in them and I recognize it in my own kids. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's annoying traits. You know what I mean? But you have to remember it's just their way of dealing and coping, but it's not fun. It's not fun for them and it's not fun for parents either. So Peg says, yes, one day at a time, Sunflower. It's not easy when you're 60 plus raising 2 children. Wow. My heart goes out to you. Rose says today's the 18-month anniversary of Zeke's passing. So Rose, I'm so sorry. You're probably in the middle of year 2. And so you're probably kind of at that crossroads where you might be a good candidate at this point for the pivot course. So, I'll type it in, www.grief. I can't type and talk at the same time. griefpivotcourse.com. So if you want to go look there, that's a course that I've created and it's for people who are past the fresh grief stage. They're ready to try to move into the regular life stage, from grief to growth is what we say. And so it really kind of helps you get out of that valley of grief and sort of put one foot in front of the other and figure out how to start walking forward and living your new normal, if you want to call it that. As much as I hate that term new normal, but it kind of is applicable. Let's see. I miss those moments. Jonice says, I'm thinking this second year is going to be harder. And yeah, Jonice, if you want to go look for that video, that's when we talk about that and the reasons why. And it may be, but it doesn't mean it's going to always continue to get harder. It's just harder for different reasons. And it depends on how you deal with things. And for me, it was not harder, but I can understand why it might be harder for other people. And because I can see the difference in the way that it is, the transition and the different type of grief that it is. It's not the same type And so for some people it's okay. It's better for them to deal with. And for other people, it's like, this is even worse than it was before. So, I think it just depends on the person on that one. Let's see. I love to see a man come in and kiss his wife, follow with an I love you. Yes. Jay, I'm coming up on 4 years. Year 2 and 3 so far have been miserable because the fog is lifting. Yeah, the fog lifting is another reason why it just kind of gets more like the reality kind of sets in and it's really tough to accept. And then Jay says, hugs to you. I'm in year 2. I think we adults have similar responses and behaviors to others too. Yes, I agree. And Jay says, thanks for creating this community, Leo, and for sharing so much of your story. So, anyway, that's basically what I want to talk about today. It's just, how as grief goes on, it's not as raw for me. It doesn't affect my every moment of every day in the way that it did in the beginning. But there's still a lot of guilt and there's still a lot of just like a cloud hanging over. And it's hard. It's just a mix, a mix of different emotions that can go back and forth. And sometimes you remember them with a smile and a happy time. And when I hear certain songs on the radio that remind me of him, I feel like it's him speaking to me and reminding me, hey, I'm still watching out for you. And I know that he's there in some way, watching over the kids too in some way. I don't know exactly how, but I just feel that, the 33 was their number. It was Dewey's basketball number and it became my softball number and it was Braylon's basketball number. So 33 was like the common number for them. And when Braylon got a tattoo of her dad, she got this, I don't know if you can see, it's upside down, but she got this same tattoo here of his hand. This is his hand doing the I love you sign. When I turn it to look at this way, you can see it the right way, but I have the initials there, DB. She has the 33 there. And so, it seems like everywhere we go, we see 33. And now recently in the last year, we've not only seen the 33, we've seen 333. There's been a lot of triple threes everywhere. It's almost like it's like it reminded us even more that he's around. And so we've been taking pictures of times when we see it. And she even made like a little TikTok video, I think, and where it has all the 33s and 333s up. And it's just like a bunch, one after the other after the other. It's just like, we see him everywhere. It's just that little reminder that he's always there in some way. He's not completely gone out of our lives. And even his influence will be there for us forever. Every time I look at my kids, the 3 kids that we have together, when I look at their faces, it's like, they all have exactly his nose, and they all look very much like him. And so, and very much like each other, obviously, because they all have that Bennett face. And, as a matter of fact, at one time, my daughter could unlock her brother's phone with her face, even though I've seen when identical twins couldn't even do that. And she was able to do that for a short period of time. That's how alike they look. And so, they've done their little morphing things where you can put you can change your face to look like a man, like a woman's face to look like a man, or a man's face to look like a woman, or a baby's face to look like a man, or whatever. And, they've done it. They did it to mine, and mine looked almost exactly the same. I just had like some facial hair. But when Braylon did hers, it filled her face out a little bit and gave her some facial hair right here, like her dad had. And I'm telling you, the picture that it changed her into looked exactly like her dad with long eyelashes. I mean, it was exactly like him. It was eerie, actually, because it was a live face of him. And I was like, oh my God, you look just like daddy. And so it's just kind of weird. But anyway, they're like a walking reminder of their dad that I get to see all the time. And so he's never far away from our mind and from our hearts, and from our influence. He's still influencing us every day in some way, whether it be from his memory or the things that he taught us or the things that he said. And so they're never completely gone. And so thank God for technology now that we have pictures and videos that we can look at all the time and just sort of help remind us so that the memories aren't too far back into our brain that we can't remember anymore. So I'm going to read the last few comments and then I'm going to wrap it up because we're almost on an hour. We're at 50 minutes now. Barbara says coming up on 9 years. It feels like yesterday. Amazing. Well, that's good that it's still, I'm not saying it's good that it feels like yesterday. I'm saying it's still like, if you can still recall memories like they were yesterday, then that's a good thing to have. just starting my process 2 weeks this Wednesday. So, so you are definitely in fresh grief. And so I would say if you haven't already joined our Facebook group, to go and join the Facebook group. I won't take the time to type it in here, but it is in the description box below, or you can just go on Facebook groups and look up One Happy Widow and find it there. Sometimes it takes me a week or so to get people in and accepted, but just make sure you answer all the questions for all of our safeties. And then Angela says, I find my anger and patience is elevated now because I have no one around to lift me up. Everyone has faded away because they feel I have grieved long enough. My entire family can't be bothered. Unfortunately a common thing that happens to us all after a certain, like after, it seems like after 3 or 4 months, maybe 6 at the most, like the rest of the family or the rest of everybody that we know just kind of gets on with life and just leaves us and forgets that we're still here dealing with the primary and the secondary loss. And so it's a common thing that happens. It's really tough to deal with. But Angela, if you're not already in our group, then our group is a really good place to go just to get some great support. We will definitely lift you up because we always lift each other up in there. And I don't get to go in there as much as I used to because I'm so busy, but I still do pop in and read every once in a while. And if anything ever comes up weird or something that I need to deal with, people just text me, or not text me, message me, and I can handle, if we get trolls in there or something like that. But anyway, let's see. I remember the first several weeks after the loss. Take care of you in this process. I appreciate how hard it is. Hugs and prayers. Angela says, I am shocked and hurt. Yes. And it is. I say normal, not because it's okay normal. I'm saying more, I guess the word I should use is common. It's common for it to happen. It shouldn't be normal. It just happens way too often. It's just kind of how it goes, and it really sucks. Like, people just don't know how to support a grieving person after, like, the funeral time. Come in, bring the food, pat them on the back. Is there anything I can do? And then you feel like if you say, well, if you ever need anything, just let me know, and then leave. And they were like, well, I said if they ever need anything to let me know, and they never called, so I guess they're fine, because they don't know what else to do. They're afraid if they pop in or do too much, they're going to remind us that we are grieving. Like, don't worry, I haven't forgotten. And you saying his name is not going to make me suddenly remember something that I was, so happy to have forgotten. It doesn't work that way. But people who have not grieved a spouse just don't know. They don't know what that's like. Please be patient with yourself. Joni says, yes, everyone needs to join the group. Jane says, I agree with Jay Sunflower. Thank you, Leo, for this entire group, for creating this group. It's helped me so much. It's helped me so much through this process. What about having a partner that's quite old and anticipating his death? How do I deal with this grief? So that is actually called anticipatory grief. And it's something that is a real thing. And it's something that I dealt with as well, because Dewey had cancer and it was terminal. So we knew he was going to die. We just didn't know when. And so Aplom, I'm not sure what your name is, but I have several videos about that anticipatory grief on there, and you can come, like I said, you can be happy to join the group. We have several people who are either dealing with that or have dealt with that before the death of their spouse, and can kind of speak to that as well. And that's a really tough limbo to be in, because you know it's coming, but you don't know when, and you don't know how to act because you're already sad, but you're trying to like soak up every moment that you still have with them. And it's really hard. And you know what else? It's hard if you remarry. It's hard not to live in a constant state of anticipatory grief. I find that that's tough too for me, because every day that I'm with JP, I'm like, you know what? One of us is going to die one day. One of us is going to be widowed twice. I don't know which one, but it's like, I try not to think about that too much. I'm trying to just like live in the moment, but it's hard not to, because when you've already lost once, it's hard not to think about that all the time. That's another video for another day. You know what? Might be another topic for later. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining in. It's my goal to try to get a video every week, but honestly, realistically, until my job slows down, it's probably once every 2 weeks is going to be what maybe I can do. If anything more than that, it's just a bonus. After my Christmas break, my job will go way down in responsibility. I'm getting my planning period back, and my schedule will change, and it should get a lot easier. So maybe then I can do my weight loss course. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. my plans and my ambitions are so much higher than the number of days in the number of hours in the day, and my ambition is just too, I think, too big for my reality. I don't know what you call it, but anyway, A Plum says, thank you so much. I've benefited from your channel, and thank you for your time and attention to all of us. Well, thank you all for coming, and and good luck with the truck. I'll have to let you guys know what happens. So join that group, and we'll see you guys either there or the next time we have a video. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next time. Bye.